Kansas City as we get set for the third game of this series and the final game of the first half for the Toronto Blue Jays and the Kansas City Royals. Blue Jays with a record of 45-45. The Royals are 51-34. On this Sunday, John Gibbons' starting lineup looks like this as the Blue Jays will rest Josh Donaldson. Donaldson left yesterday's game in the sixth, was a little bit under the weather. He will not play the All-Star. Jose Reyes has a 7-game hit streak in tow, and Devin Travis over the last 13 games hitting .419 with 5 doubles and 5 RBIs. Edwin Encarnacion put a charge into one yesterday and got things going. A 2-run home run, which gave the Blue Jays a 2-1 lead. He has 8 career home runs against the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, the Blue Jays get a chance to win the series. They're going to have to hit this afternoon against Edinson Volquez. Volquez will make his team-leading 18th start of the season. He faces Toronto for the 5th time already in his career. Volquez was signed to a 2-year deal last December. He also has a mutual option for 2017, and he has put up some pretty good numbers through his 17 starts. 8-4 with a .340 earned run average. That was built on a nice run that he has been on. He's been 6-1 with a .355 earned run average since May the 17th. Those 6 wins in that span are tied for the second most in the American League. He was also the Royals pitcher of the month. And a win this afternoon will make him the 5th Royal to win 9 games or more by the All-Star break since 2000.
Paulo Orlando, Lorenzo Cain back in center field, and Alex Rios in right. Around the horn, Moustakas, Escobar both heading to the All-Star game. Infante and Hosmer. The battery, Volquez and Salvador Perez. Perez got the day off yesterday.
And he is a special player behind the plate for the Kansas City Royals. He's a Rawlings Gold Glove winner in 2013, 2014. 3-time All-Star. He will start the All-Star game for a 2nd consecutive year. He's a big target behind the plate. He throws well, and he's putting together a very good offensive season also.
Just 25 years of age. 31 degrees and sunny. There is a warm breeze blowing right to left as Jose Reyes stands into the batter's box. What a day for Jose yesterday with 3 hits and 3 stolen bases. Reyes with a 7-game hit streak, hitting .277. Moustakas in on the grass, and the first pitch is high and outside.
That number you just mentioned with the 3 hits and 3 stolen bases, only 6 other players had done that in Blue Jay history.
Fouls this pitch off, and the count 1-1. Otis Nixon 3 times, Shannon Stewart twice, Rajay Davis twice, Alex Rios actually once, Jose Cruz Jr. and Joe Cannon. And the pitch outside.
And for Jose, he had done that 4 previous times before when he was with the Mets, last time coming against the Yankees, as a matter of fact, in 2007. Big game yesterday for Jose.
Volquez with a 2-1, and this is slapped the other way into left field, and a base hit for Reyes here in the top half of inning number 1.
Let's take a look at the scouting report for this afternoon starter of the Kansas City Royals, Edinson Volquez. The fastball 93 miles an hour. It's the changeup, though, that really sets him apart. He's got an outstanding changeup. It really works well with that fastball, and he'll drop that deuce in there, that curveball at 80 miles an hour. Throws it 24% of the time. 3 pitches that he can throw at any time. And so far this season, he's been doing a great job. He has not lost since June the 5th.
Reyes has 5 hits now in the series, and here's Devin Travis. He swings through it. We were talking about this in Chicago about Devin Travis, and when you look historically at that 2 spot in the lineup, you would really like Devin Travis here.
I like him because he doesn't strike out a lot. He hits the ball the other way. He can hit the ball to right field. You can use him for a hit and run type of player, and he's a good hitter. You can see that batting average for Travis. It's starting to climb with his good road trip. It's up over 300 again now with 7 home runs and 31 RBIs and some power. You're seeing teams nowadays put their best player at second just to make sure he gets some extra at bats, and Devin Travis is becoming a very good hitter.
Typically Josh Donaldson would hold this spot in the order. You see the numbers. Jose Reyes there.
3 for 3 yesterday, making him 14 for 15 on the season. Those numbers you just saw there, that steal percentage, that's with at least 11 attempts this season. Jose has the best at 93.3. How about Kevin Pillar showing up on that list? Also, Kevin is 13 for 15.
Pillar yesterday with a stolen base in the 3rd.
To give you an idea of what is good, 75 to 80% is very good at the major league level.
Volquez to the plate, and this one fouled back, and the count now 2-2. Devin Travis is average at .301, and on this road trip he just continues to blister the baseball, hitting .375. Tabby 12 for 32 with 5 runs scored and 3 RBIs.
And I just still think that the outfield is too shallow, not respecting his power.
Ground ball toward the middle, and it gets through, and the first 2 are on for Jose Bautista here in the top of the 1st.
It doesn't strike out a lot. He's got a great approach at the plate, keeps that front shoulder in. That's a breaking ball, and he sends that one right back through the middle. You can see the short swing. When you have a short swing like that, you can wait a long time, and that's why he doesn't strike out a lot. And the first 2 reach here.
Perez out to speak to Volquez. Jose Bautista met with the media around 11 to 15 this morning to let them know that he was not going to participate in the All-Star game, the 86 All-Star game in Cincinnati, Ohio, due to a doctor's recommendation. Said he tweaked his shoulder on a couple of throws in the Chicago series, and so he'll receive treatment. Certainly unfortunate and disappointing that you can't participate in the All-Star festivities, but more importantly, you need to get ready for the second half.
Yeah, you got to put your team first, which he is doing. Put the team first. Go and get those 4 days of rest. Let that shoulder rest up a little bit. You got to think that the batting average at just .238 for Bautista, that lower batting average, has something to do with the shoulder problems.
On this road trip, he's just 6 for 33, and I would agree with you.
He won't admit that.
Yeah. In the air to right field, and moving over, Rios toward the line, able to make the catch, and Reyes will tag up second to third, runners at the corners. One down, and here's Edwin Encarnacion. A chance here to give Felix Doubront a little bit of room to work with.
Well, if you get this type of swing from Edwin, you're going to get a lot of runs. This time he homers, the 18th home run of the season, his first in 10 days. Stay back on that breaking ball. Still had enough juice to get it into the bullpen for the home run. So you get Bautista and you get Encarnacion starting to swing and drive in big runs. Blue Jays going to win their share of games in the second half.
Health is certainly a key with both of Bautista as well as Encarnacion.
Both of them the shoulders. Jose's the right shoulder. Edwin's been battling with the left shoulder. He's trying to hold on to that bat with 2 hands so it doesn't put a lot of extra pressure on that front shoulder, that left shoulder that he has. And I think that's why the power numbers are down just a little bit.
Double play depth through the middle, and the pitch is in there for a strike. Jerry Meals, the crew chief, calls the balls and strikes. Ron Kolpa at third, Adrian Johnson back at second, and Jim Wolf at the first base bag. Encarnacion has driven in 53. 54 is waiting for him down at third. Volquez trying to get out of this first inning jam. The right-hander comes set. Ahead in the count, trying to work him away, and a swing and a miss. That's going to bring up Chris Colabello. And can he provide some offense here?
Boy, he pitched Encarnacion tough. He got that second pitch for a strike, and look at the movement on that fastball. He'll use that against left-handers, and at time against right-handers. Volquez actually missed his spot right there. It looked like they were going to go back outside. He missed his spot, but he got so much run on that fastball and sink. He was able to strike out Encarnacion.
6-1 with a 3.55 ERA since May 17th. And there are 2 outs. Colabello hitting .328. First time that we have seen him in this series. And it's strike 1. Chris has had a great first half of the season, Tabby.
He has come up with so many big base hits for the Blue Jays. Everybody remembers the walk-off hit against the Houston Astros, part of that 11-game win streak that the Blue Jays had earlier this year. He has come up with some big base hits. How about 32 RBIs?
Volquez, and it ties him up, and quickly 0-2.
32 RBIs in a few plate appearances. Doesn't have as many as some of the guys who have been here all season long. What pitchers are starting to do now against Chris, they're really starting to jam him with that fastball. They're really starting to pitch him inside, and when they feel like he's looking for that, they're throwing the breaking ball away.
Runner moving, the pitch swung on and fouled off, and Travis will return to first base. Great crowd on hand here on this Sunday. 7 Royals selected to the All-Star game, although Alex Gordon will not attend. 3 for the Blue Jays. Bautista will also miss the All-Star game. Runners at the corners, and the 0-2 on its way, and the pitch misses, and Devin Travis has a stolen base as he scoots down to second. Base hit here and a chance to pick up 2. Third stolen base of the season for Devin Travis.
Kansas City electing not to cover the bag. They are just giving him second base.
Volquez, and trying to go back inside there, and Colabello does a good job of fighting that one off. Leadoff single by Reyes, followed by a base hit through the middle by Travis. 2 outs, 2 on. And a 1-2 pitch from Volquez, and now time is called. And Colabello steps away before he gets back in the batter's box.
I think that's why he called timeout. That bird is walking around on the infield, and I think it caught the eye of Chris Colabello, and he called timeout.
Down the first base line as Perez has to chase it up the third base line. Yeah, it's walking out toward Hosmer. There it goes.
Somebody needs to get him off the infield.
Looking for some leftover sunflower seeds. Trying to leg one out here.
That thing crossed right in front of the pitcher's mound when Chris was hitting, and Colabello, you know, as a hitter, you want to be concentrating and you want to be locked in, and the slightest thing like that can take you off of what you're trying to do, and he did the right thing. Just step out.
Yeah. Out for a Sunday walk over there. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out and 2 on, and the pitch swung on, a hot smash. Escobar backhands to his feet. Got him. What a play by the All-Star Escobar. as Colabello hit a hot smash on one bounce. Escobar spins around and he saves a run with that play. Today, Alcides Escobar just made a dazzling play at short. Has a 9-game hit streak, batting .488 during that stretch. And Lorenzo Cain is back in the starting lineup and patrolling center field. This homestand, bundle of success.
That is a lineup that Felix Doubront will face this afternoon. Doubront makes his second start for the Blue Jays in his third appearance. Fourth time that he has faced Kansas City. His team has won all 3 of the starts that he has made against them. He was sensational in his last start against Chicago. 6 2/3 innings. He had just 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 16 ground ball outs, and just 4 fly ball outs. He kept the ball down. He used his curveball very effectively. He used his changeup very effectively, and he's going to have to do that again this afternoon against this Kansas City team.
Escobar shows a bunt. He worked 6 2/3, turned it over to Bo Schultz, who worked an inning. Aaron Loop worked a third, and then Osuna came in for his 4th save. That was a 2-1 victory against the White Sox, and Jose Quintana, and once again a tough I mean, he went 8 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, no walks, and 8 strikeouts, but Doubront came away with the victory.
Doubront was just better.
Yep.
He threw the curveball. He got him chasing after it. You might see the same thing this afternoon from the Royals team. The Royals, they like to go up their swing. We've been saying that for a couple of days now.
Escobar hasn't seen this many pitches in his first at-bat of the game. He's already seen 4. It's 3-1 as Martin sets up the target, and the pitch is laced into center field for a single on a 3-1 pitch in the bottom of inning number 1. Escobar to board as Mike Moustakas makes his way to the batter's box. Here's the defense on this Sunday for the Blue Jays. Out in left, Colabello. In center, Pilar. Ezekiel Carrera plays right. Jose Bautista is a designated hitter. Valencia third, Reyes, and Travis and Encarnacion on the right side. 10-game hit streak now for Escobar heading into the break, and Moustakas takes a pitch.
And there's Danny Valencia taking over for Josh Donaldson. 75 innings this year, 20 chances. He's been flawless, no errors this season at third base for Valencia, making his 9th start.
He yesterday had an opportunity in the top of the 9th inning with 2 on. He got a 3-1 pitch from Finnegan and just launched it toward the waterfalls. Dead center field. Moustakas high in the air, left side, battling the sun in the high sky, coming over is Reyes. What a great job by Jose Reyes. Reyes had that side angle and he was able to see it, and Valencia was there concerned that as he looked up he just didn't know where it was going.
That's why you never give up on a play. That's Jose Reyes right behind the pitcher Felix Doubront, a pop-up, and he recognizes right away that Valencia's having trouble with it, so he comes in to make that play. Heck of an effort right there from Reyes.
You've played here. You've had to deal with this kind of sky before. How difficult is it to pick it up?
It's a high sky today, meaning that there's no cloud, so that ball goes up there. There's no background for you to get an idea where that ball is. The ball will go up here and disappear, and you'll lose it. And Danny lost it right off the bat, but heads up play by Reyes.
And he is wearing sunglasses. We saw a play yesterday into right field. Devin Travis as well as Justin Smoke, they didn't have the shades on. As Lorenzo Cain takes a pitch up and in, and the count 2-0 to the right-handed batter. But an excellent job by Jose Reyes as you see the high sky that Pat was just talking about.
Usually if there's clouds that you can use as a backdrop, the ball goes up, you can see it amongst the clouds or coming in and out of there. It gives a little bit of backdrop for you. Today, no such chance, so you can't take your eye off the ball. Outfielders are going to have all kind of problems on a sky like today.
One down, double play, depth through the middle. Escobar with a walking lead, and a pitch is a strike, falling behind in the count.
Boy, that's something he didn't do in his last start against the White Sox. He was zeroing in on that strike zone, and he expanded the strike zone once he jumped ahead with his cutter and with his changeup and curveball.
Ground ball through the left side, hitting 440 on this homestand, and that average will rise.
Boy, he is just a good player, Lorenzo Cain. Let's take a look at the scouting report for Felix Doubront, the left-hander for the Blue Jays. Fastball, just at 90 miles an hour. They'll use that 58% of the time. This is last season's eye chart, if you will. The changeup, the cutter, and the curveball for Doubront. He's going to have to get all of them over today. And that's why he was so effective in that last start. He was able to get him over when he was behind in the count.
Strike, first pitch strike. Eric Hosmer is the batter, 288, 8 home runs and 43 runs driven in. Runners at first and second. Reyes playing toward the second base bag. This one fouled. Watch out as it is lined into the stands.
Ducking in the stands right there. Okay, now he's got him 0-2. This is where he can expand right now with his breaking ball if he chooses to, or his changeup if he chooses to.
Breaking ball down low. Runners at first and second, and he tried to expand it there, but Hosmer wasn't biting. Big hole on the left side. 2 on here and 1 away, and Doubront deals, and it's chopped foul.
Much better breaking ball that time. Much better curveball to the left-hander. He can sweep it if he wants to. Sweep that breaking ball where it becomes very large, and as a hitter it looks like a strike, and he can just sweep it right off of the plate. That's where he got a majority of his strikeouts in his last start against the White Sox.
Friday night, a 4-hit night for Hosmer. He was hitless yesterday. And the 1-2 from Doubront, and a fastball up and in. Doubront made 9 starts with Buffalo. Struck out 43, 18 walks with a 2.44 ERA. And John Gibbons said prior to Dubron's start against the White Sox, hey, if he pitches well, he's going to get another chance. Well, here's his other chance. The 2-2 on the ground through the left side. Scoring easily is Escobar. Play at third. And on the throw, taking second, is Hosmer.
You know, you mentioned that left side of the infield was wide open. I don't know if Eric Hosmer tried to do that, but the pitch suggests that he was just going to punch the ball the other way. The Royals start the runners. And once those runners started fastball away, you see Martin jump out of there. This base hit's going to score Escobar easily. Now Lorenzo Cain's going to make it to third base, but Chris Colabello comes up throwing. There is no chance to get him at third base. Hosmer was actually stopping at first base, and when the ball gets by Valencia, he moves into scoring position. The better play would have just come up, throw the ball to second base, keep the double play in order.
An error on the throw. Runners at second and third. Kendrys Morales, a designated hitter, fifth in the American League in runs driven in. Blue Jays in the top of the first inning had 2 on and unable to produce a run. Royals take the lead 1-0. Martin blocks it. And a count of 2-0 here in the bottom of the first inning. Dubron does not look as sharp as he did in Chicago.
He's throwing a couple pitches that are really close. One, he's not getting the call. Two, the Royals are showing a lot of patience taking those pitches. Here's his last start. You can see that first pitch right at the bottom of the strike zone. That was called a ball.
Swing and a miss.
Into Morales's, judgment, he laid off of it, and it was right.
Runners at second and third and just 1 out as Dubron tries to work his way through this trouble.
You mentioned Gibby in that last start saying that if he pitches well, he's going to continue to pitch. We've seen that now for 3 different players trying to take the spot of Aaron Sanchez. This is Aaron Sanchez's spot in the rotation, but with him on the disabled list, the Blue Jays have had trouble trying to find somebody to take that spot.
Morales deep to center field, gone. Three-run home run, his 11th.
What a nice signing by the Kansas City Royals in the offseason. Finding a proven run producer like that in Kendrys Morales. They stick him in the lineup, stick him in the middle of the lineup, and he produces. He's going to drive in runs 59, 60, and 61 with this first swing right here. Deep to left field. 3-run home run. Over the sign in left center field. His 11th home run. And the Royals jump all over Felix Dubron.
427 feet. And it's 4-0 here in the bottom of the first inning. With 1 away on the ground. And it eats up Jose Reyes. An error. And Salvador Perez is at first base.
Boy, sloppy play by the Blue Jays here in the first inning. The throw by Colabello was an error, and now this routine ground ball to Reyes. Goes right off of his wrist, through his legs out into left field. His 9th error of the season. It's the inning. Another base runner for the Royals.
3-time All-Star Perez at first base, and Omar Infante, the second baseman, is the batter. Looking for a double play to get out of this inning in a 4-0 game.
Way too many pitches here in the first inning. 27 already pitches, and he's only recorded 1 out. He's going to have to take his chances and be a little bit more aggressive in the strike zone.
Dubron unfortunately falling behind in the count.
That's the problem.
And that happens, and
he wasn't doing that in his last start. He was jumping ahead of the White Sox and then finishing them off with that good breaking ball.
Infante to deep left field. A lot of room to cover. It's off of the wall. Rounding third and heading home is Perez. And Perez, with the throw coming late, is safe. All the way from first base. The big catcher making his way around the bag.
How about the aggressiveness of the third base coach recognizing Blue Jay? Hey, we're going to run on you. Ball was smoked by Infante. Another fastball up in the strike zone. He thinks it's an out, but that ball's going to clear Colabello in left field by plenty. Off the wall, and Perez gives him a good effort. He's a big guy. He's recognizing that ball. That's going down. Now he's going to think about scoring. Look at the effort he's giving them, and they send him. The throw comes to Jose Reyes, and Jose held it momentarily for a while and then threw home, but by then it was too late.
Pete Walker heads out to the mound. It's 5-0 Kansas City here in the home half of the first inning. And Dubron unable to duplicate his outing on the south side of Chicago. Here on a hot, steamy day in Kansas City.
That's DeMarlo Hale trying to get someone's attention. It's like the phone isn't working out in the bullpen, so he told the officer there, the security guy, to radio out there and get somebody up, and that's exactly what's happening right now. So the phone didn't work. Let's use the security officer.
Absolutely. Get on the walkie-talkie and let them know. Got to get things going, and they do. Right-hander warming up in the bullpen, and the pitch is down and in. 5-0 Royals. Still only one out.
That is Liam Hendricks. Looks like he's starting to get loose very quickly.
Yep. On the ground, Alex Rios backhanded by Reyes. A long throw. And a great play by the shortstop. After that error, able to come back and the backhand deep in the hole and make the throw.
Yeah, you want that next ball hit right at you. It's a good play by Reyes. Plants that right foot, and he's always had plenty of arm. Accurately across the diamond for the second out.
Paulo Orlando, the number 9 hitter, with Infante at third. Ground ball, diving stop, Jose off balance throw, not in time. Infield single for Orlando and an RBI.
Paulo Orlando was named the fastest runner in the White Sox organization prior to 2007. And you can see why right here. He's going to hustle and try and make this an RBI single. You can see he's already across the bag. As he beats that throw, it's an infield single. It's also an RBI for Orlando.
Batting around, Escobar. Escobar with a base hit into center field. Moustakas on deck. Made the first out of the inning. And then Kane had a base hit into left. And with runners at first and second, Hosmer sent one into left field. And that scored the first run before Morales parked one out deep in center field for his 11th home run. And it's now 6-0 here in the bottom of the first. And a count 0-2 against Escobar.
That is a mighty task. You're asking the Blue Jays to come back against the Kansas City Royals with that bullpen. Even if you knock out the starter, you got to deal with that bullpen.
Got to deal with the trio of trouble. Escobar fouls it off his foot. 36 pitches for Dubron. 6-0 Royals. And a swing and a miss. He strikes him out. That ends the bottom of the first inning. Royals put up 6. To the second we go.
Presented by the 2015 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
A hot day here in Kansas City. 31 degrees at game time. As Russell Martin, Danny Valencia, and Kevin Pillar will try to get the Blue Jays back in this one. Top of the second inning. And Volquez, who ran into trouble in the top of the first inning, gets all sorts of run support. And the bottom of the first, 4 of the 6 runs are earned, 2 unearned runs. There were 2 errors in the inning by the Blue Jays. In left field, Colabello and then Jose Reyes.
Volquez wasn't very sharp in the first inning. He threw 21 pitches in the first inning. Now you can see this tight strike zone this afternoon. Each pitcher throwing that ball thinking that they have strikes. 21 pitches. He wasn't sharp. So I think the Blue Jays, they need to chip away by just taking what that pitcher's going to give them.
Ground ball. Backhanded by Infante and over to first. And there's one away. All right, let's check in with Jamie. That is a day indeed. Royals with this 6-0 lead.
Neuenhuis, 3 home runs today.
Yeah.
He had 3 home runs in 2013 and 3 home runs in 2014. Doing it all in one day.
Hey, why not? Valencia had his 6th yesterday.
That is rare, having a 4 home run day. You know, there's more perfect games than 4 homer games in Major League Baseball history.
I know that. On the ground, Escobar, and it's going to be a base hit by Valencia. And there's one away.
Boy, he's a magician out there at shortstop. He's got great range, a strong arm, and very soft hands. He was a finalist for the Gold Glove in 2013. And Escobar almost comes up with this one. Just couldn't get that ball out of his glove cleanly. Watch him as he transfers. The glove stays in the way, and that doesn't allow him to clear that front shoulder. Ball takes off on him. It'll be an infield hit for Valencia.
Kevin Pillar is the batter. Everything is still bunched up in the American League East. 5.5 games separate New York and Boston. Boston, they've won 7 of their last 10. In the Central, Kansas City 4.5 in front of Minnesota. Cleveland and Chicago, they are 10 games back, but the White Sox, who will face the Royals after the All-Star break, they've won 4 in a row. The Astros, who were threatening KC for the best first half mark heading into the All-Star break, they've dropped 5 in a row. They lost yesterday to Tampa 3-0.
And their lead now is just a half a game on the Angels. I think that's the team that might go out and do something. They've got some prospects to move if they want to. They've got a chance to do something special in Houston. So they might be a team that might be in on some of those pitchers that are out there.
You certainly get the sense that Kansas City has that same approach. Pillar, ground ball, backhanded, Moustakas to second, out onto first, and the ball is thrown away into the dugout, and Pillar will take second. What a play by Moustakas at third base with a backhanded stab.
I tell you, this team is a very good fielding team. The Kansas City Royals. A good play by Moustakas and a strong arm and a strong throw to second base. An unwise throw right there by Infante, the second baseman. Really no chance to get Pillar on that play. Throws it away, and he'll be charged with an error. His 7th. Yeah, no need to try and turn a play like that, but I think he got a little excited, a little fired up, trying to get the Royals back in that dugout. Threw it away for the error.
6-0 here in the top of the second. Volquez with an 8-4 record and a 3.40 ERA. You look at the offseason acquisitions by the Royals, and it has set them up to potentially make a return as Pillar goes for third, and he slides off of the bag, and the throw from Perez is there.
Kevin Pillar is really arguing over this one. And it looks like John Gibbons is going to take a look at it. To the credit of Moustakas, he kept his glove right there. But from that angle, it never looked like Pillar's foot ever left the bag. Watch Moustakas keep it right on there. Oh, just a little bit. Yeah. Great call right there by the third base umpire. That's Ron Copa. He stayed with it. So did Moustakas. They want to look at it, but I don't think they're going to change this one. Right at the end there, the foot came off just a little bit. And so we will take some more time to take a look at this one and see what's going to come. But I think they're going to uphold this one. This one's going to stand.
It appeared as though Pillar, his foot left the bag ever so slightly.
Yeah, maybe an inch, maybe. The one angle we had of it, you couldn't tell that. But the one from behind third base, shooting back down to the diamond, you could see that clearly, that the foot came off just a little bit. And Ron Copa, I mean, he stuck his nose right into it. This is the one you can't really tell if the foot comes off. But to Moustakas' credit, the third baseman, he stayed right with it. This is the one I think you'll be able to tell. Watch right at the end. It's on, and then it was just off.
Slightly.
Take a look at the slow motion of this from center field. It's on, It's on. And then it was off. You see him kick it right back on. And they're going to call him out. It's going to stand.
Yep. Caught stealing. Pilar. That ends the second. 6-0 Royals to the bottom of the second.
Simply logging on today. Your code is MBJ7653. You'll earn points just for watching today's broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. The code must be entered by 11:50 night. Look for a new code tomorrow. Matt?
Bottom of the second inning here. Moustakas is the batter. Popped out to the shortstop Reyes, who made a nice play. Valencia, the third baseman, had lost it in the high sky, and Reyes, who was back at the second base bag, came over to handle it. And Dubront with a 1-1 count. The 1-1 pitch looped into left field. It's a base hit. Let's send it to Jamie Campbell for an update. Jamie? Red Sox with a record of 42-46 at the start of the day. They've won 7 of 10 games. As we take a look at the bunched up American League East. Kane, first pitch swinging. Bounce to Reyes to second out. On to first. Not in time. A force out at second base. And a fielder's choice for Lorenzo Kane.
Not going to get that guy. He just runs too fast. It's got to hit. Kind of a humpback liner to get that guy. That ball bounced too many times. Kane is just too fast. He's 17 stolen bases this year, so I figure he might try and get into scoring position for Eric Hosmer.
Had a career high 28 stolen bases last season. His 5th year in Kansas City. Started in the Milwaukee Brewers organization. Eric Hosmer, the batter. Hosmer with a base hit and an RBI in the bottom of the first inning. A 6-run first inning, and Dubront looks in, and a ground ball chopped to first baseman Encarnacion gets Hosmer out and then races at Kane, and Kane just stuck in the middle with no place to go. It's a double play, 3 unassisted double play. Let's go now to the third.
Orioles, presented by Bacardi, are back. The first one goes July 17th when the Blue Jays host the Rays. It's a 7:07 start, but get to the ballpark early for our pregame festival outside of Gate 10. Gates will open at 4:30. You can also enjoy a live performance by special guest Dean Brody in the licensed area. Go to BlueJays.com for more details. It is feeling like summer here at Kauffman Stadium today, Matt.
Well, yes, it is. It is July in Kansas City. And while we hit some cool weather in Chicago, here in KC, it feels like it should this time of the year. Blue Jays, of course, this is game number 10 of the 10-game road trip. They trail 6-0, a stretch of 16 of 19 on the road. They will return home to take on Tampa, as you just saw from Barry what is coming up for the Blue Jays. So check them out when they return.
Looked at some of the pitchers that the Blue Jays have faced on this road trip. Remember, it all started in Detroit with Anibal Sanchez pitching no-hitter into the 6th inning. He was the 2013 earned run leader in the American League. They got Price and they got Verlander. Between them, they are 11-time All-Stars. They also have Cy Youngs and Rookies of the Years and MVP. Chris Sale was an All-Star. Smarja Young, and now Volquez was an All-Star. So they're facing some really, really tough pitching on this road trip. And they've just had to battle and grind, and the bats just haven't been there.
Yeah, well, what did they say? Good pitching
stops good hitting. And the Blue Jays certainly have good hitting. We all know about that. They have 75 more runs scored than the Yankees. But it goes hand in hand with the pitching. You have to get the pitching. All that hitting has only gotten the Blue Jays a 500 record.
Yeah. But I will say this: you go back to Thursday and Friday, they got good pitching. Combined 5 runs allowed. Carrera in the air. Going back is Kane, and Kane has it all the way.
The 2015 Honda Civic is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
One away, and Jose Reyes is the batter. And then yesterday they got great pitching from Burley, and then the home runs came around. Burley ran his record to 26-12 in 53 starts against Kansas City. The second most in both wins and starts against the Royals, behind only Hall of Famer Bert Blyleven.
That all comes from the American League Central days for Mark Burley, and also 13th win in this ballpark, which is the most that he has had as a visiting player.
And the 10th, and that means he has reached 10 or more in 15 consecutive seasons. Burley, before the All-Star break, won 12 in 2002. He was an All-Star then. 2005, when he won World Series with the White Sox, was 10-3. Last year 10-6. This season 10-5.
He has been as steady a pitcher that we have seen this year. You know, not too high, not too low. Just go out there and just give you innings. He's had a couple of games that he could have won if the bullpen could have closed the door. But you talk about good pitching. You mentioned Thursday they got good pitching from R.A. Dickey. He only gave up 2 runs in 7 innings, but Smarja was just better. And the Blue Jays lost that one.
Punched in the air, foul territory. Moustakas 2 down.
And then on Friday, I thought Marco Estrada threw the ball extremely well pitching into the 7th inning. He only gave up 2 earned runs. Remember, he got drilled in the 1st inning on his foot, and he ended up pitching into the 7th inning. But the staff of Kansas City was just that much better, shutting out the Blue Jays.
Hosmer drilled one right back through the middle. And he continued to pitch. Here's Devin Travis with 2 outs, top of the 3rd, and a pitch is called a strike. Travis, a single and a stolen base back in the top of the first inning. Blue Jays have played under 500 since that 11-game win streak. And their bats have not come through a ton as of late. Over the last 14 games, they're hitting just .214 and an average of 3.71 runs per game. Swing and a miss that time by Devin Travis, and a 1-2-3 inning for Volquez.
Headlines, analysis, and schedules, visit sportsnet.ca/Blue Jays. And here's something else you definitely want to check out. It's the Sportsnet Live Tracker. All the live stats and information you need for any game you want. Check it out at sportsnet.ca/MLB Live Tracker. Matt?
Always fun to check out MLB Live Tracker. Tracking Dubront here. 37 pitches in the first, Tabby, and then 6 in his last inning of work, the second.
That's much more like it for him. Attack the strike zone and then expand.
Morales. Dubront hustling off of the mound, scoops it up, and he gets Morales, who hit a 3-run home run back in the bottom of the first inning.
Well, if Dubront doesn't catch this, the Blue Jays defense was set up too. But look at Devin Travis right behind him. Reaction time, he knocks it down, and you've got time with Kendrys Morales running. This doesn't run very well, and it records the out over at first base.
Salvador Perez is the batter.
You know, it's funny how baseball, you find players anywhere. Back in 2006, the Kansas City Royals saw Salvador Perez at a tryout camp. He was playing third base, taking some grounders and throwing the ball across the infield, and their scout Orlando Estevez said, why don't you go behind the plate? Let's see you throw a few balls from behind the plate, and the rest is history.
2006 was when Dayton Moore, their general manager, came on board. He had been in the Atlanta Braves organization since 1994. Taken by Valencia, and there are 2 down here in the bottom of the third inning. And there were some turbulent times. They built up the farm system, and now they're having a ton of success.
Nice play by Valencia to get Perez over at first base, second out. Yeah, when you see a guy like that, when he throws like that, put him behind the plate. Let's see what you have. And at the time, one of the Royals special assistants was Bill Fisher. Bill Fisher was a pitching coach for the Reds, and he called Dayton Moore and he said, I've just seen the Venezuelan Johnny Bench. He can throw. He's going to be a really good one. This was back in 2007 when he had just signed. And now he's going to go to his third All-Star game at the age of what, 25?
25, 2 Gold Gloves. Infante is the batter. He doubled, picked up an RBI in the bottom of the first inning. Been talking about this throughout the weekend, on and off the air, just about the under the radar signings by Dayton Moore, and Morales one of them, Volquez one of them, but they went out. Yes, they did lose, Billy Butler and James Shields, but they went out and they spread that money around.
Billy Butler got $30 million, $10 million a year for 3 years from the Oakland A's.
Backhanded, Reyes off balance throw. And Infante is safe at first base. It's going to be an infield single.
So instead of giving that money to one person, they spread it around and used it for some guys. There were question marks all the way around, I think, for some of the guys that they picked up. Ryan Matson hadn't pitched in 3 years, and here he is pitching out of the bullpen, doing a heck of a job. How about the name we haven't heard yet the first half for the Kansas City Royals? Chris Medlin. They went out and signed him. That was another one that's under the radar. And if he comes back in the second half healthy, there's another pitcher with playoff experience for the Kansas City Royals.
Chris Young, we saw him yesterday in the air to right center field, and heading over is Pilar, and Alex Rios is the final out of the bottom of the third inning. And we head to the top of the fourth. Bautista, Encarnacion, and Colabello.
Josh Donaldson joins the biggest sluggers in baseball as they swing for the fences. It's the 2015 Home Run Derby tomorrow on Sportsnet, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. At this point, gentlemen, we have been told that he is still all planning to go to both the Derby and the All-Star Game Tuesday.
We certainly look forward to that. If you're just joining us, Jose Bautista, a recommendation from doctors, will miss the 86th All-Star Game in Cincinnati, Ohio, there on the banks of the Ohio River. Felt something in his shoulder on a couple of throws in Chicago. Certainly unselfish on his part to say, you know what, it's better for the team, better for the stretch drive.
Put the team first.
Yeah.
Blue Jays are going to be in it, I think, all season long. In the second half, they're going to need a healthy Jose Bautista.
You just wonder how much of that shoulder has caused some of the offensive woes for him. The last time up, balls, he typically is able to drive a little bit more.
You certainly think so. Again, he would never say that, but he's sitting in the catbird seat right here.
3-0.
Be ahead of the count. He has hit 9 of his 17 home runs when he is ahead in the count. And he's sitting there now 3-1. Got to figure that Volquez is going to challenge him with a 6-run lead.
Volquez, veteran right-hander, looks in. And the 3-1 on its way. 86.
He's got an outstanding changeup.
There it was.
Volquez. Percentage of strikeouts via the changeup this season has jumped. It's almost doubled from last year. It's up to 41%. He'll use it a lot.
Chop foul. Volquez was an all-star for Cincinnati back in 2008. Was 17-6 with a 3.21 ERA. Has spent time in Texas, Cincinnati, San Diego, the Dodgers, Pittsburgh. Last season where he was 13-7, swung on and hit in the air to deep left center field. Going back is Kane, and with all that room, Kane is able to track it down. One away here in the top of the 4th inning. Let's send it to Barry.
Well, guys, Jose Bautista spoke to the media this morning, and he said while the shoulder is bothering him a little bit, it's nowhere near as bad as it was when he first injured it. He was forced to play 29 consecutive games as the DH. His hope is that when he gets the treatment during the break, he'll come back and be able to resume some duties out in right field. He said he's very disappointed about not going to Cincinnati. He had plane tickets booked for all of his family and friends. That's not going to happen. There is some good news as far as Josh Donaldson. While he's not here at the ballpark today, he's still hoping to play in the All-Star game in the Home Run Derby tomorrow. And then there's Aaron Sanchez. Made a start last night in Dunedin, pitched 2 2/3 innings, looked really good from all accounts. Next step for him is to move up to AAA. He will start on Thursday for the Buffalo Bisons, make another start on the 21st, and if everything goes well, he may be able to return to the Blue Jays at that point. And as you guys have seen over the last little while, they need him back in this rotation.
All right, pitch down low and away. It'd certainly be great to see Aaron Sanchez back.
And they are training him or getting him ready to be a starter.
Right.
You have heard all the rumors. Well, when he gets back, we might put him in the bullpen and take his workload down. John Gibbons says, no, we're going to get him ready as a starter, and then we will make our decision and go from there. It's been a tough spot in the Blue Jays pitching rotation. Aaron's spot, they just haven't been able to fill it with any consistency.
Well, that, and then finally as Volquez overthrows and it sails high, that, and finally deciding on that back end, the bullpen and where to go. And Osuna, okay, now you have Roberto Osuna playing around a little bit. I mean, it's in direct contrast of what Kansas City has, which you know what you're going to get in the 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Yeah. Not a lot of thought into that when you've got that kind of power, the back end of your bullpen.
And that's why they feel here if they can add a number 1, watch out. Since here is, okay, a return trip to the World Series.
They're not thinking of just getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, they're thinking about winning it all.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's where they're thinking. They came so close last year and they tasted it. Got a little taste of it. They want to win it all now.
Encarnacion, did he go around? No. And it's a walk. Let's send it to Jamie Campbell. Jamie? It's 6-0 here in the top of the 4th inning. Colabello is the batter. First time up with runners in scoring position, 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs. Drove a one hopper to Escobar, who made a sensational grab on a one hopper and threw out the left fielder at first base to end the inning. It's 6-0 here in the top of the 4th inning. Encarnacion aboard. He's at first base.
Boy, you got to start chipping away. right now against Volquez. He's lost his release point again, throwing a lot of pitches here in the fourth inning. You got to get 2, 3, and just start chipping away before you get to the back end of this ball game.
Check swing right into the dugout of the Royals.
And that would have been another ball. That would have been ball 3. So the first 3 batters of this inning, Volquez went 3 balls to. He is just not jumping ahead of him. I don't know with a 6-run lead if he's not feeling well or what, but he certainly isn't attacking the strike zone.
Laboring a little bit, but still shutting out the Blue Jays. And the 2-1 pitch, and it misses away. And a count of 3-1. Encarnacion standing on the first base bag. Volquez, right-hander, looking in. Comes set. Edwin with the lead at first. And the pitch. And consecutive walks here, Tabby.
Fell behind Bautista 3-0 and came back to get him on a nice play by Kane. And then he walks Encarnacion, walks Colabello. And now he's got to face Russell Martin. Russell's the type of batter that really works over that pitcher also. So Sal Perez, the leader that he is, has gone out to the mound to talk to his starter. Saying, hey man, we got a 6-run lead here. You can't pitch away from contact because the Blue Jay batters, they're not going to swing at those balls just off the plate.
Very patient group. So a visit out to the mound. Ned Yost looking on. In a sweat-soaked Royals jersey, the right-hander will face Russell Martin. Martin has 12 home runs. He can cut it in half, the lead right here, as the pitch is a strike.
One swing of the bat can get the Blue Jays right back into this.
Martin 0 for 2 with 2 walks lifetime against Volquez as that pitch misses. And I think Volquez is a little bit frustrated with the strike zone. Kind of walked away that time. And
yeah, it looked like the same pitch that was just called a strike. Looked like it got the same spot. You can see it right there on Pitch Tracker.
Ground ball, backhanded. Escobar out at second, onto first in time. Volquez got exactly what he needed after walking Encarnacion and Colabello. A 6-4-3 double play. Escobar, Infante, Hosmer after 3.5. 6-0 Royals.
2015 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Kids enjoying themselves here on this Sunday. Blue Jays trail 6-0. Royals here will send Orlando, Escobar, and Moustakas. Jays allowed 6 runs in the first. Of course, they did that on July 2nd against Boston and came back to win that one. Well, today have the same magical outcome. Royals batted around in the first inning. Orlando with a infield hit. They scored 6 in the first for the first time since August 2nd of 2012. Now, a lot of Blue Jays fans will keep track of what Aaron Sanchez does in Buffalo. We've seen so many fans on this 10-game road trip. Detroit, to Chicago, and here in Kansas City. Into the gap, and diving is Carrera, and he makes a sensational catch. Orlando into the gap, and Carrera with the diving catch.
No Jose Bautista this afternoon, so no problem. Ezequiel Carrera is going to fill in for Jose, and he lays out for that one. Line drive that is slicing back to him right into the glove. He's able to hold on to that ball for the first out. As Carrera, he's played all 3 outfield positions for the Blue Jays this year, so this is nothing new.
Escobar the hitter, and the pitch is up in the count of 1-0. Dubront, after that opening half inning, has settled in a little bit.
37 pitches in that first inning. You know, the defense didn't help him with a couple of errors in that first inning. But yeah, he is starting to zero in against these Kansas City Royals. Escobar has been swinging a hot bat for Kansas City lately. Over the last month, he's been all over that fastball, and I think that's why you see Dubront starting to throw off-speed pitches to him.
Ground ball. Reyes scoops it up over to first base. 2 down.
Save during the plumbing, cooling, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Moustakas is going to head to his first All-Star game. After the final vote, receiving 19.3 million votes online, as well as through social media. And with 2 outs, he looks at a pitch down and in. Royals, one of only 2 clubs in baseball playing 600 ball. The other about 3.5 hours away. 4 hours away in St. Louis.
St. Louis.
56 and 32. Right on the other side of the state. Eastern portion of the state. The third team with the Royals that have achieved 51 wins prior to the break, joining the 1976 team. That was a great squad.
And lost to the Yankees in the playoffs on that walk-off home run.
Chris Chambliss.
And the catcher on that Kansas City team,
Buck Martinez.
That's my guy.
Buck, nice enough to let me sit in for the last 10 games. He'll be back after the break. The 2003 squad, they also had 51 wins. Ground ball chopped. Shortstop is there, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Felix Dubron. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.
Camps may make a stop near where you live. They're presented by Baseball Canada and Little League Canada. Just some of the stops this summer include Abbotsford, BC, Okotoks, Alberta, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Victoria, BC, and Toronto, Ontario. For all the details, go to bluejays.com/baseball academy. The Toronto Blue Jays are proud supporters of amateur baseball across Canada. Matt?
Bottom third of the order. Here in the top of the fifth, Valencia, Pilar, and Carrera. Can they get something going and start to chip away on that 6-run lead that the Royals hold? And Volquez, although he is not allowed to run, he has been off a little bit here.
Yeah, to me, he hasn't been very sharp. He's been falling behind a lot of the Blue Jay batters. He's pitching well enough with that lead. That certainly makes things a lot easier. He's throwing a lot of pitches.
Down in the count again, 2-0.
In his last start, which he had a no decision, he only threw 5 innings in that game. That was against Tampa, the second game of the doubleheader. He threw 101 pitches in 5 innings.
That pitch is low, and 3-0 now to Volquez.
You could see he's upset. Volquez, after that last call, it looked like it was a good pitch, fastball, 2-0 fastball at the knees, and he doesn't get the call. So he's trying to be perfect, I think, to get the calls, and it's just not happening.
Count 3-1. This was the count that Valencia had yesterday when he hit a 3-run home run in the 9th, scoring Travis and Jose Reyes. And a swing and a miss. Here's the 3-2 on its way. Chop to Escobar. Gloves it to the side and on to first base in time. One away here in the top of the 5th inning, and Kevin Pillar is going to be the batter.
Well, if Volquez wants to keep going and keep going longer into this ball game, he's going to have to stop going 3-ball counts. Too many times he has done that this afternoon, and that's just going to jump that pitch count up very quickly.
Pillar, after the first 48 games, batting just .217, but over the last 41, hitting .349. Was 1 for 3 last night, reached base 3 times, had 2 walks. Volquez in under the hands with that fastball at 96.
Yeah, good movement that time. Helped him out a little bit. That pitch was off the plate. It looked like Kevin had swing on his mind. Wherever the ball was, he was going to swing at it.
.02, hacked foul, and count remains 0-2.
Pitchers have been getting Kevin Pillar out inside, especially down and in where that strike 2 pitch was down in, and he's only hitting 190 in that lower third of the strike zone, down and in.
Breaking ball down low and away. They play him to hit it the other way. Wind blowing right to left here. Top half of the 5th. One-two on its way. Hit in the air to right field. Rios going back and has it, and there are 2 down, and Carrera is the batter. He's 0 for 1. Flew out to center field. Made a great grab back in the bottom of the 4th inning on the ball off of the bat of Orlando. Final series of the first half for the Blue Jays and the Royals. How would you categorize, Tabby, this first half?
Unfinished business. That's how I would put it for the Blue Jays. I think they have hit well enough this year to be in first place. I think they've made some mistakes defensively, and they haven't gotten the great all-around pitching and consistent pitching that you need to be in first place. But when it's all said and done, they come into this ball game at 500, 45 and 45, 3.5 games out of first place. That's it. So it's there for the taking. I think if they just shore up a few of the areas defensively. John Gibbons working his bullpen. You mentioned a couple of innings ago, Osuna is going to be your closer. That puts everybody else into a position where Gibby can use them in the right way. Blue Jays can put a rush together in the second half. They're going to be okay. I looked it up today. Everybody talked about the Kansas City Royals last year and how great they were. You know what the record was on July the 23rd? 50-50. They were a 500 team on July the 23rd. Now they had a big kick, 49-23 to finish off the season and get into the playoffs. But this was a team that was underachieving the Kansas City Royals at 500. You know, about 2 weeks from now. Blue Jays can do the same thing. They've got the people, the personnel, if you will, to do the same type of thing.
Ned Yost was under a lot of pressure at that time with his team hovering around 500, and then they took off, and everything is a wild card. Everything just played out for the Kansas City Royals, and now Ned Yost goes to the All-Star game as the American League manager. Two on the ground, backhanded. Hosmer, Gold Glover goes to first. It's a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the 5th inning. We head now to the home half of inning number 5. Kane, Hosmer, Morales.
Fans, the Pan Am Games are officially underway, and Sportsnet is your place to watch. Canada's men's soccer team in action tonight. They take on Brazil at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific on Sportsnet. Matt?
A hot, steamy day here in Kansas City. And the bats were hot for the Royals in the bottom of the first inning as they lead 6-0 as we head to the bottom of the fifth inning. It'll be the middle of the order for Ned Yost, Kane, Hosmer, and Morales. Kane with a single back in the bottom of the first inning scored when Morales hit that 3-run home run. The All-Star makes his way to the batter's box.
You know, to be a good team, I think you have to be strong defensively up the middle. Baltimore Orioles certainly are that. I think the Detroit Tigers are strong up the middle. And the Kansas City Royals are really strong up the middle. And this guy right here, Lorenzo Cain, he's the anchor to this team, playing a great center field. He won a Fielding Bible Award last year. You know, it's not the notoriety that the Golden Glove gets, but the Fielding Bible is actually, you know, rated on a few more things than the Golden Glove.
He can cover so much ground out there, and you need that. As he smashes this one foul in this ballpark. Talked about this on Friday night, how big the gaps are here. 387 to right field, 387 to left center field.
Well, he did win a Gold Glove, I think, because he didn't have the innings that you needed to play in center field. Remember last couple years, the Gold Glove went to a left fielder, a center fielder, and a right fielder. There was a technicality about him playing too many innings in right field and not enough in center field, and that's why he didn't win the Gold Glove.
Line toward left field and off of the glove of Chris Colabello, and Kane is going to cruise into second base. And right now they're calling it a hit.
Line drive over the head of Colabello, and take a good route to that one. You can see he's got the sunglasses down. He reaches up and he can't come up with it. And then the reaction from Dubron. This is a tough part of the lineup. I needed that first out right there. Colabello can't come up with it. It's a double for Lorenzo Cain, his 19th of the season.
I think Chris would tell you that he should have had that one. Cain is given a double. Hosmer was given a base hit back on Friday night on a chopper that was barehanded by Donaldson, and it skidded off of the right hand of Donaldson, and initially they gave Josh a error and then later changed it to a hit. Cain at second and a fastball up and in. For Hosmer, that was his 8th career 4-hit game. He's had one 5-hit game. So,
you know what? You're not going to make perfect pitches all the time, and when you make mistakes and they hit the ball hard, sometimes you're hoping it's right at them.
Yep.
Defense has got to pick you up sometimes, and that was an instance right there where the defense could have helped out their starter to get that first out. You're in the middle of this lineup right here for the Kansas City Royals, and it would be a heck of a lot easier to get through this inning with one out and nobody on instead of no outs and a fast runner at second base.
Pitches down. Talked about the strength of this Royals team through the middle, and you look at baseball traditionally when building a team, you know, that's where you start, right?
Yep.
Right through that middle. And this is a team that also was able to take advantage of some bad years, having high draft picks. They selected Hosmer, so they also were able to get the corners taken care of on the infield with Hosmer and Moustakas. Liam Hendricks up once again. Base hit through the middle. Cain's going to easily score. Hosmer looking to take second. The throw, got him. So Hosmer was attempting to leg out a double. But he has a base hit and an RBI.
Kevin Pillar's going to pick up the outfield assist, hustling over there to get that ball. The Royals are always thinking about the next base. 3-2 pitch by Hosmer, drilled through the middle. Now he recognizes where Pillar is playing, how he's got to come over, slide over, come up throwing. So he's going to test the arm of Pillar, and he gets burned. That's 8 outfield assists now for Kevin.
Entered the game 7th in the American League. So a nice play by Pillar, and Morales ground ball right back to Dubront, underhanded toss, and there are 2 down now here in the 5th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Salvador Perez on a pitch down and in, swings and misses, and I think he wants a little more stickum for the bat.
Days like today, you're going to need that. You don't want to lose that bat. Have it helicopter into the stands.
Perez 6'3", 240. 25 years of age, just turned 25 in May.
15 home runs this year for Perez here in the first half.
Chopped it foul. Perez didn't play yesterday, but played on Friday night, and he hit a home run in the 8th.
And look at where all of these pitches are. The pitch types, the fastball, the curveball, the slider, the changeup, everything. 15 of them for Perez, but this time he goes down.
Dubront able to battle back, and he gets Perez. 7-0 Royals. Let's go to the 6th.
Saturday presented by Boston Pizza. It goes July 18th when the Tampa Bay Rays pay a visit for a 107 start. Join us outside for pregame activities by Gate 10, inflatables, and lots of fun. After the game, kids 14 and under can run the bases just like the pros. Go to BlueJays.com for tickets. Matt?
So here we are in the 6th inning, and it's now 7-0. Jose Reyes is the batter. Reyes on this road trip, Tabby, hitting over 300 with 4 stolen bases, 3 doubles, and 4 runs driven in. Started the game with a base hit, was stranded at third, and that really changed this game. You know, you pick up 1 or 2 early. I'm sure Dubron maybe settles in a little bit differently there in the bottom of the first. But unfortunately, the bottom of the first inning, very hurtful for Dubron and the Jays. 6 runs score.
4 of them earned, right?
Yep.
So just in that first inning, if they catch the ball and it's just 4 runs and the Blue Jays score that run in the first inning, it's 4-1. I mean, that's certainly within striking distance with this great offense. But it's getting late.
Yeah.
They got to start doing something right now. This is the perfect guy at the plate, I think, to get the Blue Jays going.
Because even if you are able to mount an attack against the Royals, you know, Ned Yost is going to get that bullpen going, and you're going to see potentially the trio of trouble, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Herrera, Davis, and Holland, and they're well rested. They did not pitch in yesterday's ball game.
So as John Gibbons mentioned on Friday, it's so true. If you want to get to the Royals, you got to get at them early. It's exactly what the Jays were able to do yesterday. They scored 2 in the 4th on that 2-run home run off the bat of Encarnacion. Added a run in the 7th. It was 3-2 at that point. And then the 3 runs in the 9th really separated it. Ned Yost, not having the lead, did not go to those pitchers. Instead, decided to go in a different direction. Ground ball. Glove by Infante. Can't get it out of his glove. And it's going to be a base hit. So 2 base hits for Jose here.
You know, when you have speed at the plate, fielding a ground ball, everything has to be perfect for you to even get a chance to get them. Watch Infante go to his left. Even if he comes up with it and throws a strike, there's a chance that Jose Reyes was going to beat that ball out. But in his haste to make things a little bit quicker, tough play for Infante. Can't come up with it, and Reyes has another multi-hit game.
Devin Travis is 1 for 2. Travis now 13 for 34 on the road trip. His average at .303. Ground ball, chop. Moustakas, no play at second, throws it high to first, and it pulls Hosmer off of the bag, and Travis is safe at first base. And once again, Reyes and Travis aboard to begin an inning.
You know, once we start talking about the Royals and how well they start catching the ball and fielding, they start throwing it around. This time Moustakas thought about going to second base to get that lead runner, then said, I'm going to throw this ball on the run, and it got away from him. He's going to pick up his 7th error of the season, and that's going to get Ned Yost moving around and probably get the bullpen up for the Kansas City Royals.
That's what we were just talking about. Once you start putting things together, Ned Yost has that ability to go to the bullpen. You see the tarp being pulled back there. Here's Bautista. He can cut into this lead with one swing of the bat in a 7-0 game. Jose 0 for 2, and he takes a look at a strike. Reyes at second, Travis over at first. Outfield straight away and deep. In on the hands, and the count now 0-2. His last home run was Sunday, July 5th. A 2-run home run off of Justin Verlander in the top of the 5th inning. Has 17 on the season. Ryan Madsen up for the Royals. Bautista awaits the 0-2. Breaking ball in the dirt, and he has too good of an eye to chase that.
You know, Sal Perez, the catcher for the Kansas City Royals, is almost like a giant brick wall behind home plate. This is a 55-foot breaking ball. And watch this. He just blocks the ball right in front. Bautista says go ahead, but Reyes, ball's right in front of him. That ball's not going anywhere. With that arm and the quickness that Perez has, he was not going to be able to move up. It's almost like bouncing a ball off of a wall, the way he blocks that thing.
240 pounds back there, but moves swiftly at 6'3".
Soft hands. Yeah, very soft hands and a great arm.
Runners at first and second, nobody out here in the top of the 6th. The 1-2 swung on, ground ball fair down the first base line. Reyes will score. Dug out by the right fielder Rios, and into second with a double is Bautista. Runners at second and third, and the Blue Jays are in business here.
You know, he's such a good pull hitter, but there are times when you can go the other way. Coming into this game, Jose had 10 hits, all of 10 hits the other way. And if they're going to shift him over like that, why not take advantage of it? And he does. Lets that ball get deep. You can see how far off the line that Hosmer is, the first baseman. So Bautista just grounds a ball over the bag for an RBI. That's his 60th of the season, and the Blue Jays are in business.
His 4th hit of the series, and an excellent job of going the other way. You can tell with 2 strikes that was certainly his intent, as he let the ball travel deep and
his 11th hit to right field this year. And it's a big one, I think, for the Blue Jays. And now a base hit. The Jays with this offense, I don't think they're ever out of any game.
96 pitches for Volquez. Can they add some more here? Edwin is up there looking for the express and breaking ball. He was dialed in if it was there.
Got the hook. A lot of teams have been trying to get ahead of him. Strike one with a fastball. That time they throw the breaking ball against Edwin.
The 0-1 on the ground chop. Moustakas gloves it, looks the runner back to second, fires to first base, but a run does score. That's Travis.
Save during the plumbing, cooling, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
7-2 here in Kansas City, as the Blue Jays are chipping away. Volquez looks in, has a sign. Bautista back at second. Colabello the batter. Walked his last time up, and a breaking ball out in front. Colabello this season hitting .383, entering the game with runners in scoring position. Bautista takes third. A stolen base with one out. Now a fly ball and a run can score.
Jose does this. Watch him. Nobody at second base. And as soon as Volquez turns away, he takes off. He'll be credited with his 4th stolen base.
Volquez with a 1-1, and it's up and in, and the count now 2-1. First 2 years in the big leagues with Minnesota. Right-handed batter awaits with 1 away and a runner at third and a 2-1. And the count now 3-1. Three balls and 1 strike. Bautista at third. Jays down 5 runs. The 3-1 pitch, swing and a miss.
Everything inside, up and in from Volquez to Colabello. That fastball, they don't want him to extend those arms where he can drive the ball. So Volquez has been pushing him off the plate with that fastball.
Colabello awaits. Here's the 3-2. And it's a walk. And let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Jamie. Ned Yost has seen enough from Volquez today. Volquez leaves here in the 6th after 5 1/3, and Ryan Madson will enter the game, the right-hander. Ryan Madson, Tabby.
There are the numbers for Madson. What a comeback story. He has been 37 games this year. 35 1/3 innings. He pitched yesterday. Got 2 outs in an inning just to finish off that inning, stranding a couple of runners. He has got a good cutter and a great changeup. And he will get his share of ground balls when he's on.
Fouled off to the right side. Ground ball. Bobbled by Escobar and flipped over to second. Safe. Escobar and Infante unable to deal with it. And Bautista scores.
How about that? That's a double play grounder. An easy double play grounder right there. And they would have been out of the inning. The first mistake was the shortstop. Escobar boots it. Still has time to get the runner at second base, and it's dropped by Infante. And Infante is the one who's going to be charged with the error. As this ball, double play, messed up by the infield by the Royals. Again, we talked about the defense being so good with this team. But this inning, that is their second error in this inning.
RBI for Russell Martin. Runners at first and second.
We have seen it time and time again. When you start giving big league teams extra outs like this, it gets them right back into the game.
2 errors on the left side of the infield. Moustakas and then Escobar. Runners at first and second. And the pitch to Valencia. 2-0 the count. In a 4-run game.
Ryan Madson did his job. He got the ground ball that he was looking for, but it was booted by the middle infield. And now changes the complexion of this ball game and this inning. They initially gave that error to Infante, and they just changed it back to Escobar.
Into the gap in right center field. All the way to the wall. 1 run is in. Here comes Martin speeding home. He'll score standing up, and it's a double by Danny Valencia. And the Blue Jays are right back in it.
You're right. They are right back in it. The crowd is stunned here. Valencia does such a good job of hitting the ball the other way. That's why he got up to such a great start this year, by using that gap in right center field, and he finds it one more time. It's going to cash a couple of runs across for the Blue Jays. And the Royals thought they were out of this inning. Should have been out of this inning, but the Blue Jays capitalize on the error. It's now 7-5.
And you mentioned this, but with the Blue Jays and their bats, you can't give them extra outs.
No, you can't.
They did.
You can't make errors. They've made 2 already in this inning. Prolong the inning. Give the Blue Jays extra swings. And you know what it does when you make errors like that? It gives you extra confidence too. Danny Valencia confident with runners on base. First and third, 1 out. Let me get the ball into the outfield and get some RBIs.
Valencia at second, and the pitch to Pilar is a strike. 5 runs here in the top of the 6th. Seven to 5 here on a steamy Sunday in Kansas City. Chopped over the reach of Moustakas at third. Valencia rounds third. He's on his way home. The throw goes into second. Safe at home, safe at second. It's a 1-run game.
How about this? Blue Jays playing with a lot of confidence right now. Pilar comes up with another hit, just a ball right off in front of home plate. And it's hot here, and that thing is baking right now so hard it bounces over the head of the third baseman Moustakas. And he's not going to stop at first base. He's going to test the arm of Paulo Orlando and aggressively makes it into second base.
Tying run is at second. Carrera is the batter, the 9th batter of the inning for the Jays. Pilar with speed at second. Carrera swings and a line drive, base hit into right field. Here comes Pilar. Pilar slides in safely, and the Blue They're never out of it.
They are now pounding this bullpen right here. This is something else. 7-0 heading into the 6th inning. And the Blue Jays come roaring back. Carrera with a base hit to right field. Pilar, he's going to get sent on this one. Rios has a good arm. He's got 3 outfield assists. Luis Rivera aggressively sends Pilar. No chance to get him at the plate. The Blue Jays have come all the way back to take the lead.
Reyes started the inning.
And remember,
with a base hit.
Remember, they should be out of this inning. If they handle some of those balls, batted balls by the Blue Jays, they're out of this inning with no runs on the board.
Give an extra at bats, and the Blue Jays take advantage.
Still only 1 out.
Remember, we mentioned this earlier. Back on July 2nd, they gave up 6 runs in the first inning to the Red Sox. And what happened on that day?
Came roaring back. Gave up 8 runs to the Red Sox, and they scored 4 in the second. They ended up losing that game. They also had an 8-1. They were down deficit against Boston and came back and won that game.
And Reyes flies out. Second out. They can make it a game. There's no doubt about it with their bats.
You know, you could just sense the confidence in the Blue Jays go up when they started throwing the ball around and kicking the ball around this inning. You give them extra chances and not take advantage of those outs. Blue Jays have a way of taking advantage of it.
Travis reached on one of the 2 errors here in the 6th. 94 mile-per-hour fastball there. Travis 1 for 3 with a run scored. Go ahead run at second. It's Carrera. And a pitch burns that outside edge for a strike. Kelvin Herrera warming up. Madsen bounces that one up to the plate. John Gibbons mentioned this too. Hey, you got to get after the starters. They're finally able to do it here in the 6th, and did not want to go to Herrera that early as Delabar is up. And the pitch misses.
Well, you got to figure he's got to throw him a fastball. He doesn't want to walk and pitch to Bautista.
1 month to the day in Boston, the Blue Jays, Tabby, erased a 7-run deficit and won it 13-10. The 3-1 on its way, and a strike. At second base, Carrera. A base hit could put the Jays up. The 3-2 swung on, ground ball, base hit through the right side. Carrera rounds third. The play at the plate, safe. Blue Jays lead. Blue Jays lead 8-7. Travis, ground ball through the right side. It scores Carrera from second.
He has been doing that, Devin Travis, this whole road trip, shooting that ball the other way. If you're going to pitch him away, he's going to hit that ball the other way. And the inning continues for the Jays. They put up an 8 spot. You see Devin shoot that ball to right field. Carrera with a big secondary lead. He's going on contact. No chance to get him at the plate. Blue Jays will pick up another 90 feet. As you see, he is safe as Travis takes second base on the throw home. And now we're going to have the third pitcher of this inning, and the nightmare continues for the Kansas City Royals.
So Ned Yost at the mound as Madsen unable to get out of the inning. It's an 8-7 lead for the Blue Jays. They put 8 up on the board here in the top of the 6th, and Kelvin Herrera now is in.
How many times has he come into the game when he's losing now? And it's only the 6th inning. There are his crazy numbers. Devin Travis right now with the tie-breaking hit. He stands at second base.
Bautista with a double down the right field line was able to drive in the first run of this inning. And then it was runners second and third. And from that point on, a lot of good stuff for your Toronto Blue Jays.
The walk to Colabello, and then the error by the shortstop on a double play. I mean, a tailor-made double play off the bat of Russell Martin. He booted it, and that opened up the floodgates for the Blue Jays. They went double, double, single, fly out, single. And now they've got Bautista up 2-0.
The 2-0, and the pitch is up and in. The Blue Jays in this inning alone, Pat, with runners in scoring position, 5 for 8. Bautista with Devin Travis leading off a second and swinging at that 3-0 pitch. Eight runs here in the 6th. Herrera, the right-hander, comes set. And here's the pitch, swung on, and a ground ball deep in the hole. Escobar got him. Bautista turns and looks back at that bag. And I think John Gibbons is saying, hold on, wait a minute, wait a minute. They want to check and see.
And Kansas City says, we've been out here long enough. I'm out of here. They're all taking off. It's too hot to be standing out there waiting for the review.
There's air conditioning and fans inside the dugouts, and that's where they're headed. They do not review it. The errors that kept this inning alive, and the Jays capitalize a lead 8-7.
It is to think about snow and winter. We should remind you folks that we do have a snow day in July coming up at the Rogers Center. Winter is coming. Join us as we turn the ballpark into a winter wonderland. Sunday, July 19th. It's the Jays and the Rays. A week from today, in fact, the first 20,000 fans will receive a pair of Blue Jays winter mittens. Go to BlueJays.com for more details. I'd like to get a pair of those winter mittens, fill them with ice-cold water, and just dump on my head right now. If the Jays win, guys, I'm telling you right now, I want to have a Gatorade shower. I will gladly take it.
It's a little hot here. Jays are hot. Ned Yost is hot. Of the 8 runs, Tabby, just 1 earned. Delabar comes in. Infante, Rios, and Orlando. Dubront, 5 innings, 10 hits, 7 runs, 5 earned.
And if the bullpen can hold it, would get the W now after the Blue Jays even score 8 runs in the top of the inning. But now it is up to the bullpen, and can they come in and throw strikes?
There's a strike. 85 pitches for Dubront. What an inning by the Blue Jays. Infante lines this one into left field for a base hit, and the leadoff batter is aboard. The Jays this season, when they score 5 runs or less on the road, are 4-24. They got 6 yesterday and won that game. They have 8 today. Double play depth through the middle. Reyes and Travis. Rios, the former Jay, 0 for the day. In the series, 3 for 9, hitting .300 on the homestand with 2 doubles and an RBI and 5 runs scored. Hits this one through the left side, and runners at first and second, and the tying run is now in scoring position as Orlando comes to the plate.
Well, that didn't take long for the Kansas City Royals to come right back. And that's going to send Pete Walker, after 2 batters, to the mound to talk to Delabar. It's going to give the bullpen a chance to get some people up and get them loosened up. Aaron Loop has got a ball he is now starting to throw. This is also a chance, I think, to talk about the defense, what they're going to do. There's Loopy warming up in the bullpen. You got to think that Orlando's going to bunt here. First 2 batters reach base. Let's see if you can bunt, make the Blue Jays get an out, and then you turn the lineup over to the top of the order in Escobar.
So the meeting on the mound is done. Here's Orlando. Hit a grand slam walk-off last Tuesday in their series against Tampa Bay. In on the corner, squares to bunt, pitches high. And Russell Martin behind home plate, a little bit frustrated there. Delabar, let's go. Right-hander comes set. Long run for Travis, sliding. And it is foul and out of play.
How about that effort right there from Devin Travis? Remember, he's in double play depth, so he is closer to the bag at second base. When the Royals take the bunt off and let him switch, you can see where he is. Right around second base, the ball's popped up, and he's full tilt. He's going after this ball like he can try and make the catch. It's just out of play. This kid comes to play every day.
Runners at first and second. Delabar comes set, and here's a pitch. Bunted third base side. Valencia over to first, and nifty footwork by Travis. Runners at second and third, 1 away now.
Boy, you're not kidding. Nifty footwork by Devin Travis over there. That ball was sailing from Valencia. Nice bunt by Orlando. Remember, he can run. This ball was sailing, and watch him as he goes to catch this ball, how he shuffles his feet, touches the bag with his right foot, and then gets out of the way. A very nice play by Travis.
Tying run 90 feet away. Escobar is the hitter. He's 1 for 3. Go ahead run at second, 1 away. Even with the bag at third and at first. And the first pitch is a strike.
He is hunting fastball all the way. Alcides Escobar early in the count, runners on base. So Delabar throws him a breaking ball.
Fouled off to the right side.
That is Tim Leeper, the outfield instructor, putting his outfielders where he wants to. Got to figure that Delabar's got to throw a splitter here. He needs a strikeout.
Martin with the signs. Ground ball. Through the legs of Jose Reyes. Oh my. 2 runs scored.
You know, on top of that error again by Reyes, his second of the game, the Blue Jays cannot get to the ball, and that allows Escobar, who's always playing 110%, to get to second base. They were going to score a run because the infield was playing back. Ground ball right at the shortstop. Up comes the glove. It goes by him, and then Colabello right behind him. He overruns the ball. As he picks up the glove too quickly, Colabello overruns the ball, and that allows Escobar to get into scoring position, and the Blue Jays defense has really hurt them this afternoon.
3 errors by the Jays. They'll have to come back once again. Bottom of the 6th. 2 runs in, 1 out.
Shut this one down. There are his numbers in 41 games. Left-handers are actually hitting higher this year at 286. He gets Moustakas, the first batter, and he hits him.
That sets up a double play possibility. Moustakas is hit by a pitch, and Lorenzo Cain is the hitter. Extremely difficult with his speed to double up. He is 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored. And the Royals have come back, answering the Blue Jays here in the home half of the 6th, and assisted by an error by Jose Reyes, and then Chris Colabello over running that ball, unable to scoop it up, and that allowed Escobar to take second. But now runners at first and second, and Cain looks at a strike. On this homestand, coming into today, hitting .440 with 2 home runs and 8 RBIs. Has hit now in 4 straight, and Luke twists back to second base.
The leads aren't big enough for them to steal. You think that they might try and be a little bit aggressive, but you got the best hitters on the team coming up, and Travis is keeping the runner close to second, and that lead right there from Escobar is not big enough.
And the pitch is strike 2, so now ahead in the count, 0-2 to the all-star center fielder Lorenzo Cain. Line drive into right field. Escobar, and the throw gets away from Martin, but backed up by Loop. Escobar scores. 10-8.
Cain's a good player. 0-2. Shoots the ball the other way. Cuts down that swing. And this is an inning, an answer right here by the Kansas City Royals. They answered what the Blue Jays did in the top of the inning, and they put 3 on the board and only 1 out.
Hosmer. Looks at the 0-1. And it's now 1-1. Dubront will not be involved in a decision.
Yeah, no decision. 5 innings. You have to believe what the Blue Jays did in the top of the inning. They had a chance to get a W.
Still only 1 out here. And unfortunately, the bullpen and then the defense not able to hold it for the Blue Jays here. Royals lead by 2. Hosmer, swing and a miss. And the count 2-2. Hosmer singled, RBI in the first. Fouls this off to the left side, singled in the 5th, and picked up his second RBI of the game. Runners at first and second base. Hosmer awaits. And here's a lefty to the plate, and the pitch is high. And the count now runs full. Ryan Tepera up. The 3-2. Needed it and got it.
The 2015 Honda Civic is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Three runs have scored here for the Royals. There are 2 outs, and they now lead 10-8. Morales.
You know, the first day in here, we got in here and we started talking to some of the people from the Kansas City Royals, and we're just like, what's different about this team this year? They believe.
Yeah.
They believe
Confidence.
that they are a good team. They stick together. When things get tough, they have a way of coming back, just like in this game here. This is the best team in the American League that I've seen. They've got a little bit of everything. If they had that #1 stud, you could say that. They don't have that, but they play great defense. They've got good hitters. They've got a tremendous bullpen. They've got a little bit of everything.
They do a lot of the little things, right? We've seen it today. You've pointed it out throughout this series, taking the extra base. Broken back, ground ball. Reyes to second the short way. And that's going to do it in the bottom of the 6th inning. But 3 runs score for the Royals. It's now 10-8 as we travel to the 7th.
tonight. Season 2 of The Strain begins at 10 Eastern and Pacific, only on FX.
To the 7th.
What a crazy game, huh?
Yep.
Wild and crazy on a hot Sunday. Edwin Encarnacion is the scheduled first batter. He has just now got his batting gloves on, looking for his bat. And the home run by pitch type from Edwin, you can see he's a low ball hitter. He likes the ball down and he likes it in. Those are all the different pitch types. There's no problem on the fastball, cutter, changeup. It's where the pitch is. Pitchers have tried to pitch him up at times and breaking ball away. So if you're Edwin, just look for that ball down. You're going to get one, and Herrera's going to supply a lot of power with his fastball.
Swing and a miss at 100-mile-per-hour fastball up in the zone.
That's where it is. That's where they'll throw it to him. If you keep swinging at it, they'll keep throwing it there.
Delabar, third of an inning, 2 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned. Backhanded Escobar, the long throw, and it's in time. 1 down, and Colabello's the batter. He has walked twice, 0 for 1. And a run scored back in the 8-run 6th. Well, they came back from 7 down. You just need 2 to tie.
Makes it a little bit tougher where we are in this ball game now and who we're playing. You got this guy out there throwing cheese at 99 miles an hour, and then you got Wade Davis, and then Holland, although Hochevar is up in the bullpen for Kansas City. That might be just to finish off this inning if Herrera can't.
Pitch is outside. Hochevar pitched yesterday. Worked an inning, no hits, 2 walks and a strikeout.
There's Luke.
Count 2-1 here with 1 out in the top of the 7th inning. Blue Jays trailed 7-0, led 8-7, and 3 runs scored for the Royals in the bottom of the 6th. Blue Jays haven't won a 3-game series since June 26th through the 28th against the Texas Rangers at home. The last time they won a 3-game series against the Royals was 2013. Ground ball, Moustakas off of the heel of his glove.
That took a wicked hop right at the end. I mean, a wicked hop. He played it off to the side, which you should because you're a little bit quicker. It's hot here. This ground is getting baked. And look at that one right off of the glove of Moustakas. Both of these teams struggling today to field grounders.
They're going to give Colabello a hit with that bounce, and something that you mentioned about that infield with the.
Yeah, they initially gave him a hit.
Now they're changing it.
Yeah, it took a wicked hop at the end there, but on that replay, looked like he had a chance to catch it.
You could tell by his reaction. Surprised that they initially gave him a hit. But that infield so hard.
It's baking.
I can only imagine when you played here with turf how the ball would bounce.
At least it would be true. It would be a true hop on the turf here, but this dirt, goodness gracious, and the Blue Jays are going to take advantage of it again.
Martin all the way to the wall. Colabello rounds third base. He's headed for home, and a double by Martin. And a run scored.
Blue Jays never say die, and they're going to try and take advantage of some errors and some sloppy play First, the error by Moustakas opens up the door. Now Martin drills that ball to right field, and it looked like Lorenzo Cain had some problems coming up with that ball in right center field. Ball hit hard. That's extra bases. It goes all the way to the wall. Colabello's going to dig around second base. He gets the go-ahead from Louis Rivera and scores without a throw. And Blue Jays cut it to 1 run.
Martin with the big double here to make it a 10-9 game in Valencia. Fouls this one back. Second RBI for Martin today. Has 41 on the season. His 15th double. Valencia doubled last time up and picked up a pair of RBIs. Herrera. Pitch up and in, and Valencia turns out of the way. And Martin hustles down the third. Now goes too far around the third base bag. And Perez fires back to Moustakas, and he's out.
Wow. You know, it looked like Russell Martin was going to take advantage of the young kid behind home plate, but it's reversed. Perez goes back after this ball buzzes by Valencia to the backstop. Martin comes around, and you see Perez taking a look at him. And he's taking a look at him. He's like, well, I'm going to be aggressive coming around this bag. Perez comes up firing and gets him at third base.
And I think they're going to take a look at this.
Gibby's back out. They're going to take a look at it.
Yeah.
You know, it was a high tag.
His hand may have snuck back in.
How about Perez, though, with the presence of mind to throw back behind Russell? Takes a big turn at third base, and here comes the ball.
I think he may have been in there. The ball beat him. The ball beat him.
And the tag looked like it was high. One more time from behind home plate. Perez just keeping his eye on Martin. And then comes up firing. And he is called out. And we will see.
Safe. I don't know. I say safe. So close, but the tag
was up around the elbow.
Yeah.
And if they see that, they might send Russell back out there.
Martin's got the batting helmet.
And that's a big run.
Huge. This is huge right here. The question is, did the ball beat him? That we know.
Yes.
But did the right fingertips get in there before that tag? If you had an over from above angle, the high above, and then
slow-mo right here. Here comes the tag. He already has the ball. Where does he tag him? Now, from that, being an unbiased type of player, I think he's safe. I thought the tag was a little late, and because of that run being the tying run, where we are in the game, this is going to take a while. Yes. They're going to make sure, absolute sure, they get this call right, because this is a huge call for the Blue Jays.
Let's see. It looks like they're going to take the headset off, and they're saying out. They may not just have enough
to
overturn it.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to be unbiased, it looked like Russell got his hand in there before the tag.
Shaking his head. Valencia gets underneath this one in the high sky. Escobar, Infante both battling, and Escobar able to settle underneath it, and that does it. Not before the Blue Jays put one more on the board. Home half of the seventh coming up. It's a one-run game.
Home field advantage for the World Series is on the line once again. Tuesday, it is the 2015 All-Star Game live from Cincinnati. Check out Josh Donaldson and Russ Martin as they go up against the National League. It all gets underway at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, right here on Sportsnet. Matt?
Jose Bautista named to the All-Star Game. And Jose, based on doctor's recommendation, will not go there. Gives his shoulder a little bit more time to heal. Perez with the big play back in the top of the 7th inning.
Getting some last-minute instructions right there from the hitting coach, Dale Swain, to talk about the new pitcher for the Blue Jays. Brett Cecil, as you see, Russell Martin caught at third base by Perez. A big out. Brett Cecil will come in to pitch the 7th inning. 2 and 4 and 482 earned run average. He's averaging over a strikeout per inning. And he's got a nice 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. He will face Perez to lead off the 7th inning. Perez, Infante, and Rios.
Pardon me, Luke. 2/3 of an inning, a hit, no runs, and 1 strikeout. 4th pitcher used by John Gibbons here today.
And he will get Salvador Perez. You can see the 2 catchers talking about that last play, last inning. Perez, big strong guy, 15 home runs. That total's tied with John Buck for the most home runs by a Royal catcher before the All-Star break.
And a very friendly, as this pitch is launched into deep left center field, going back is Pilar. A very team-friendly contract. He's making 1.7 this year, and the final 3 years of his deal are all team options. And the final year, he's at $6 million.
What does he sign through? What year?
He signed through, off the top of my head,
2019.
I'd say it's 19.
Yes. That is very team friendly.
Yeah, through 19 when he's 29 years of age. 2 next year, then jumps to 3.7, then to 5, and then to 6. By that time, he'll be a 6-time All-Star and have about 5 Gold Gloves racked up.
And still be 29 years old.
And still
be a free agent.
Right. Pitches down and in. I think one of the reasons why, the feeling here is let's go out and win it now. They have players right in their prime. You have players like Eric Hosmer. How much longer are you going to have him?
Right.
He's going to receive some big money out of the marketplace. And Fonte in the air to right field. Carrera dealing with that sun, and he's able to put it away.
You know what else the Kansas City Royals have going for them? They still have some prospects down in their farm system that they can deal if they feel like they can make a run for it and get one of those pitchers that are out there. The name that we keep hearing is Raul Mondesi Jr. Shortstop, just 19 years old. It looks like he's going to be a superstar at some point. Do you use him to trade for one of those guys? We'll see.
Rios is the batter, and it's a strike. You mentioned earlier about Butler getting $30 million. They spent $48 million on Morales, Volquez, and Rios combined. As that pitch is fouled off. So much talk about small market, big market. At the end of the day, you have a strong farm system. It allows you to do a lot of things. And homegrown players, and then you add pieces.
It's the lifeblood of an organization, and if you have those kind of players come in every year, you can replenish and you can let the guys go who are going to become free agents, trade them.
That's why Branch Rickey started the farm system. He was with St. Louis actually when he started the farm system. St. Louis Cardinals years and years and years ago.
And the good teams, year after year after year, they have those players coming through their farm system. It doesn't matter where you're drafting. You go and find the best players. I mean, you talk about the Cardinals. How about the Atlanta Braves, the great run that they had? I think 14 straight division titles. It was built on the strength of that farm system. They would finish off their team by maybe signing a free agent here or making a trade there. But it was all based on a great farm system.
Well, think about the run the Yankees made. I know everybody thinks about, well, they go out. Well, when you look at that core group that they had in the late 90s, early 2000s, homegrown, and then they go out and get a Scott Brocious. It wasn't, you know, they make a trade, get Paul O'Neill, get Tino Martinez from Seattle. A 1-2-3 inning in the 7th inning. Reyes over to first base. 10-9, top of the 8th.
$30 plus basic TV bundle for $62.97 per month for the first 3 months. Find out how. Call 1-888-ROGERS-1 today.
10-9 here as we head to the top of the 8th inning, and Wade Davis is on here on this steamy day.
Yeah, before we get that, Mike Frostad is going to get one of those ammonia cold towel treatments to the home plate umpire, Jerry Meals. In between innings, he's been sucking down that water and sucking down that drink to keep the fluids going. What a day that he has done, and the job that he has done behind the plate. We have to talk about that. Wade Davis, the extraordinarily fine setup man for the Kansas City Royals. And look at those numbers. 4-1 with a 0.24 earned run average. He's going to go to the All-Star game.
Pilar fouls it right back. Herrera worked 1 1/3 innings. 1 hit, 1 run. It was unearned. And so you get into that bullpen.
Yeah, this is what we've been talking about all weekend long. This is their bread and butter right here. This is what's taken them to the next level. Those 3 pitchers, Herrera, Davis, and Holland, to finish off ball games, these tight 1-run games.
They haven't lost a game when carrying a lead into that 9th inning.
And that's because of Wade Davis. What a job he has done this year. Just the numbers that are just off the charts, and thank goodness he was recognized for his work, and he's going to go to the All-Star game.
All three, Herrera, Davis, and Holland, they could be closers for a lot of teams. Pilar in the air to right field, going back over the head of Rios. Pilar rounds second. He's headed for third, diving in safely, and it's a lead-off triple by Kevin Pilar. Rios broke in and then raced back as Pilar does an excellent job taking Davis the other way.
And what you don't want to do when the tying or go-ahead run is at the plate, if you're the outfielders, you're playing no extra base hits. So you play a little bit deeper so the ball like this doesn't get over your head. Rios takes a bad track to the ball. It goes over his head, and by then it's let's go. Pilar dives in with that triple, and a good start here in the 8th inning for the Blue Jays.
Infield is in. Carrera is the batter. Pilar at third, and the first pitch is strike. Bo Schultz is up in the pen for the Blue Jays. Pilar a triple. Carrera base hit and a run scored in the 6th. Strike 2.
98 with that fastball. His strikeout pitch is a good overhand curveball. It's got a lot of snap to it. A lot of late break. This is where you have to have a lot of confidence in your catcher that if you bounce one of those curveballs with a runner at third base, he's going to block it for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Carrera fans at it. Pilar at third with his second triple of the season.
It looked like Carrera was looking for the breaking ball, and they cut that fastball. That ball went right by him.
Reyes is the batter. He's been charged with 2 errors today, and wouldn't he like to tie this game up and get one back? Started the 6th with a base hit and scored when Bautista doubled, and this one right back through the middle, and we're all tied at 10. Jose Reyes right back through the middle.
He swings early in the count when there are runners on base. He comes up hacking with the infield in. You can't wait around against Wade Davis. Go up there swinging. It's a cutter. Gets it off the end of the bat. Gets enough of it into center field, and now you see Pilar score the tying run. Now Reyes with those 3 stolen bases yesterday. This is an important time for him to steal another one.
Travis swings and misses. Checking in over at first base. Strike 2. Tied at 10. Blue Jays.
Excuse me, Matt. Coming into this game, Blue Jays had outscored the next closest team by 75 runs. And they're showing you why they're never out of a game and why in the second half they're going to be a threat, because they can swing the bats. Never out of a game.
They've come back twice today. And a breaking ball down low and away in the count of 1-2.
And this isn't a pitching staff that's towards the bottom of the American League. They came into this game, the Kansas City Royals, second in the American League in team ERA. And they're pounding them. 10 runs on 12 hits.
Travis strikes out. That's his second strikeout. And Jose Bautista is the batter.
The power arsenal right there from Davis as he goes upstairs to get him. I think this whole inning was set up by the play by Rios, letting that ball get over his head by Pilar. You're at the bottom of the lineup. You cannot afford to have any ball go over your head. And he does the Blue Jays a favor by misplaying that ball for a leadoff triple.
Bautista doubled on Friday night off of Davis and a breaking ball away. Tied at 10. A leadoff triple. Carrera struck out, and Jose Reyes right back through the middle with the infield in. His third hit of the day and an RBI. Tied at 10. Bautista with 2 outs and a 1-0 swing and a miss. Bottom of the 8th, Orlando. Then back to the top of the order, Escobar and Moustakas. Can Bautista keep the 8th alive? And the pitch is a fastball strike. Jose didn't like it. Bautista, a double, back in the 6th with an RBI. The 1-2 foul to right back. And Jose Bautista and the home plate umpire Jerry Meals are having an extended conversation, and Bautista just gets thrown out of the game with a count of 1-2 and 2 outs. And Bautista gets thrown out of the game. Meals throws Bautista out of the game in this situation.
Well, you know what? You got to hold your tongue. You're their best hitter. You're tied with the team that went to the World Series last year, 10-10. It's the 8th inning. We need you in the game here. You can't get thrown out. You just can't. And Bautista, unhappy with one of those pitches, kept jawing and jawing with Jerry Meals, and he said, okay, I gave you your chance to say something, and now I've had enough. You can see he lets him say his thing, get back in the box, go ahead and hit. And if it ends right there, that's it. He's still in the game. He goes back to get the baseballs, and he kept jawing, and Jerry Meals says, that's enough. Out. So it'll probably be Justin Smoke now to try and finish off this at bat. But the Blue Jays need Bautista in their lineup, and they're going to finish this game with him out of this game.
Smoke will become the batter here. We have seen it all today, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean,
errors,
plays under review,
crazy plays.
8-run sixth.
A guy thrown out with 2 strikes on him in the 8th inning. John Gibbons has to go to his bullpen or his bench and bring in Justin Smoke. to finish off this at bat.
Reyes tied it up here in the top of the 8th inning with a base hit. He's at first. They set up outside for Smoke. And the pitch is outside. And a count of 2-2. You see on the pitch track how that third pitch was up and in. That was the one that Jose was having an extended conversation with Jerry Meals about. And the pitch swung on and hit high in the air on the right side. Looking for it is Kane, and Kane is able to take it. Time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie and Greg. Drive of the game brought to you by the 2015 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car, 17 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Kansas City Royals struck early and often in the first inning, and our drive of the game happened in that first inning. A couple of runners on board. Kendrys Morales deep to left center field, home run number 11. Drove in 3 runs with 1 swing of the bat. The drive of the game that seems like so long ago, doesn't it?
Game started at 1:12, and if anybody had an early afternoon flight, they may want to think about
heading to
making some arrangements.
The All-Star game. There's a lot of them over in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And the Blue Jays. Bo Schultz will step in now as he pitches the 8th inning. Kevin Pillar with that leadoff triple, a huge hit for the Jays.
And Orlando fouls it off to the right side. Pillar with the triple, and then the base hit by Reyes. Right-hander Schultz. And the pitch misses. Cecil worked to 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 7th. Here in the home half of the 8th inning, Jays have battled back twice. 20 runs, 25 hits, and 7 errors in this game. Orlando deep to left field. Colabello going back, looking up, gone. Orlando gives the Royals a lead. We've seen it all today.
This is a kid who hit the walk-off grand slam earlier this week, and he caps his week with his 3rd home run. A big one. Fastball from Bo Schultz right down Broadway, and Paulo Orlando sends it flying to left field. This is a deep, deep ballpark. It's 385, 387 to left center field, and he reaches the seats with one swing.
.394 feet. Escobar is out. Flies out to left field, and there's one away.
3 home runs now for Orlando. He hit his first major leaguer earlier this season at Yankee Stadium. Then the grand slam here to win the game earlier this week. And then the tie-breaking home run here in the 8th inning.
And with the lead, Holland is up and getting ready in a hurry. Pitch down and in. One away. There's Holland. Picked up his 18th save on Friday night.
Royals are trying to win a series from the Blue Jays for the first time, or the second time since 2012. Blue Jays have played them tough over the last couple of seasons, but this is a different Royals team in my mind.
Yep.
They gained so much confidence from what happened last season.
They understand what it takes.
And they want to go out and prove it. And they want to take the next step.
They've never won an American League Central Division. Their last division title was 1985 American League West. Moustakas into right field for a base hit. I'll send it to Jamie Campbell for an update. So the Yankees take that one as they lead the American League East. 8 games over 500. I mean, back in the day, that wouldn't cut it, would it, in the American League East?
No. 48-40 might get you 4th place.
Yeah,
back in the day.
And that's why I think everybody, even if the Jays fall today, I mean, Greg Zahn talked about this earlier in the pregame show. How, you can start the second half, broken bat, Valencia on the second, on the first, and an inning-ending double play, but you still feel like you have a chance. Everybody's all bunched together. Orlando unties this game with one swing of the bat. 11-10, we go to the 9th. his third of the season. And it's a 1-run lead. And on the hill is Holland, Encarnacion, Colabello, and Martin.
When this game started after the first inning, I wonder if Greg Holland thought he would get into this ball game after they scored 6 runs. So here he is, the big closer for Kansas City.
Has 18 saves, worked on Friday night. Edwin could tie this up with the one swing of the bat. Has 18. It is 18th yesterday in the 4th. 2-run home run.
And he's going to be looking for something out over the plate.
Holland struck out the side in the 9th on Friday. Encarnacion knows he just missed it. Got underneath it. Orlando. And there's one down. Holland has 111 saves since the start of 2013. Tabby second in the majors behind Craig Kimbrell, who has 119. Colabello is the batter. And a swing and a miss.
Well, on top of a great fastball, he's got an out pitch, that overhand breaking ball like that. Nasty. Throws strikes, comes right after. He's very aggressive.
At the start of this road trip, you knew it was going to be tough. 3-6 on the trip thus far. Down a run here in the top of the 9th inning. Colabello looks at the pitch away, but Blue Jays not done with this tough stretch. 16 of 19 away from Rogers Center. They return home after the break. They'll see Tampa for 3 games and then head back on the road. And Colabello beats this one foul.
Yeah, we all know about the great pitching staff that Tampa has. How about Oakland? They come into today leading the American League in earned run average, so it doesn't get any easier.
The 1-2 on its way up and in. Colabello turns out of the way, and the count now even at 2-2. One-run game. 21 runs today. And that one skips up to the plate, and the count now is full. 27 hits, 7 errors, and 9 left combined.
That's the one that I can't believe. The 7 errors. Kansas City has committed 4 errors. It's one of the better fielding teams in the American League, and they've given the Blue Jays a chance with that fielding.
On multiple occasions. 10 combined pitchers here on this Sunday. Colabello has 8 home runs. He has scored twice today. And the pitch is up. So the tying run is aboard, and Russell Martin is the batter. And this is what the schedule looks like for the Blue Jays. Tampa and then Oakland and Seattle.
Yeah, out to Oakland for 3 games and then Seattle. Tough road trip. You get the good pitching staff of the Rays and then Oakland and then Seattle. I'm sure we'll see King Felix at some time. Seattle starting to get that good pitching. So the next couple weeks for the Blue Jays is going to be tough.
Ryan Goins comes on as a pinch runner here. One away, and Martin is the batter. Last time up, he doubled and picked up an RBI. He fouls this one back.
Outfield a little bit deeper this time. The tying run is at first base. The go-ahead run at the plate. Now they want to cut off any ball in the gap.
Was thrown out at third base after taking third on a wild pitch. Perez grew behind him. The play was reviewed and it was not overturned. Goins at first. Martin is the batter. A double and an RBI. That's 2 RBIs on the day. RBI back in the 6th.
Breaking ball just off the plate. Russell, he's been behind the plate all afternoon. Caught all 9 innings yesterday. Back there today.
On a sweltering day, and a breaking ball makes it 2-2.
You know, it was Martin's ball, I thought, that opened up the floodgates for the Blue Jays. He had a double play grounder to the shortstop in the 6th inning that looked like they were going to get out of the inning. Double play ball, he booted it, and the Blue Jays ended up scoring 8 runs.
And that pitch misses up. Three balls and 2 strikes. Holland looking for his 19th save. Chop foul, and the Blue Jays trying to extend this game.
Blue Jays started the runner at first base to stay out of that double play. Good move, Russell. Just gets a piece of it.
Goins with a lead over at first, held on by Hosmer. Holland comes set, looks over at first, and the runner off, and the pitch is grounded foul once again.
Tell you what, not many people have left.
No.
It's been a heck of a ball game. It's been a long ball game. Seesaw back and forth. The fans are sticking to the end.
Home run by Orlando has given the Royals a 1-run lead. 11-10 now. Russell, foul, back of the third base bag. And so Goins will make his way back to first, and Martin.
And just for the heck of it, Ryan's getting his sprints in.
Yep. And Russell continues to battle here against one of the best to close out games. Here's the 3-2, runner moving, swing and a miss, the throw, Perez, the tag. Got him. Strike him out, throw him out, double play to end this one. Blue Jays fall 11-10 here at Kauffman Stadium as the Royals take this game.
You know what? We've seen a little bit of everything. Why not finish this game on a strike him out, throw him out? You send that runner hoping that he makes contact. Russell cannot come up with that. And Perez with that cannon of an arm ends the ball game. What a day.
21 combined runs, 27 combined hits, and 7 combined errors. And the Royals win their 52nd game. The Blue Jays are 45-46. Tabby, it's been a pleasure. When you get back from the All-Star break, Buck Martinez will be in the chair.
Thanks for the last 10 days. It's been a lot of fun, buddy.
It's been fun, Tab. Thanks. Royals win it. It is time for Blue Jays Central. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn, guys.